Hello, everybody, and welcome. This is the Apostate Prophet. I hope you're having a fantastic day, everybody. We are having a very special show today in which we want to talk about the demise of human dignity and how Islam can restore everything to perfect beauty and all of that. I am live with very special guests here to my side. As you can see, David Wood, some of you might not know, but he's a minor YouTuber who also has his own channel. And on the other hand, we have here Richard Spencer.
Just so you know, Robert, he said yesterday he was going to do that, and I said that would be awesome.
I couldn't go through with it, though. I had
to. You're a bigger chicken than Mohammed Hijab and Ali Dawah,
man. Robert Spencer, not Richard Spencer. Robert Spencer is here, not the other guy. I guess I'm glad about that. Robert, how are you doing?
Richard couldn't make it. He asked me to fill
in. So what's up? How are you doing, Robert?
Never better, AP. And thank you. I appreciate you having me on always. You do great work, and it's an honor, sir.
Thank you. I appreciate that very much. Same for you. I appreciate it. And thanks for being here. And with that said, thanks everybody for tuning in. Have a good day. No, David, what's up? How are you doing?
Nothing. Just sending out these links. What's up?
You're still doing that? I thought you were done with that.
What? When people hear that D Wood got something going down, they want to be notified. So I got to send it out on a couple different platforms here.
This is what we're dealing with now. Terrible. Anyway, but so today we want to talk about some very interesting things that recently happened. So I don't know where to start with this, but I
can start.
You can start. Go ahead. You start.
Oh yeah, I can fill in the background details. These are the background details from. Why is my head gianter than your guys? Hang on. I have the technology.
It's just that way, David.
Everyone's gonna call me Moosehead and stuff. Then I'm gonna freak out. Look at that. All right. So Robert, you can correct me wherever I'm wrong. This is my recollection of the events because you messaged me when things started last month. But here's my recollection. I don't even know. Is it public that you had horrible pneumonia? We're thinking
it is now.
You're gonna. Oh yeah. So,
yeah, I've had pneumonia all summer and was in the ER a couple times. It was very serious, but I'm still here.
Like David, can you finish a project I'm working on if I don't make it through this type deal?
Yeah, it was very bad.
So Robert had a pneumonia when he gets invited on the Patrick Bet David podcast, the PBD podcast. And you messaged me about this because you said, again, this is all my recollection, but I mean, we have text messages and stuff if there's ever any confusion. But I recall you messaged me and said, hey, it's against, or it's a discussion with Mohammed Hijab, and I forget the guy's name, but you said a Jewish guy. And
Adam Sosnick.
Your impression was that you were going to be discussing the critical Quran. So people are going to be, you thought they're going to be like Mohammed Hijab's going to be criticizing the critical Quran, and you're going to be responding. And you said you're not really familiar with you don't have a lot of experience with the online Dawah guy. So what do I think? How do I think Mohammed Hijab is going to respond? And I said, I think he'll respond like he did with Ayan Hirsi Ali. It's their standard method, which is instead of answering a person's objections, they typically try to look for something to discredit the person. Therefore, you don't have to listen to this person. Therefore, you don't have to respond to the objections. So I said, that's exactly what he did with Ayan Hirsi Ali. He found a miscitation in her book, in one of her books, and said, and then just goes on to, you see, this is why you should never listen to one of these Islamophobes. They don't know anything. They got a reference wrong. And it's like, man, if you held that standard up to your guys, who's going to survive it? Your prophet and your God wouldn't even survive that. I mean, they said all sorts of things that are like beyond ridiculously, absurdly false. But I said I think they'll go through your entire book, have a team of their fans go through your book, looking for anything that's a weak hadith or a miscitation stuff, and then go in there and say, you see, this is why you can't trust Robert Spencer and stuff. I said, I thought they'd go that route. I mean, I thought Mohammed Hijab, because it was just at that point, and then a Jewish guy, and I had no idea what he was going to bring up, and so. The only question is whether you're going to be healthy enough, because you were still recovering. And the concern was, are you going to be hacking and coughing in there? Because we skipped a bunch of episodes of This Week in Jihad because you were sick. And then even when we did one, you were still having some coughing problems and so on. So it was a question of whether you're going to be, healthy and so on.
You're sick. You are sick.
You see? Hey, AP, you remember Ali Dawah praying for everyone, telling everyone to pray that we get diseases? So you see?
Yeah.
You see that? This is the proof. This is why, Robert Spencer, you must convert to Islam now.
Yeah.
So that was all going on. And then at some point, I think it was definitely a couple weeks later or something like that, but I think it was towards the end of August. Then you messaged me and you said, wait a minute, now they just told me it's going to be Ali Dawah too. And you don't really know him either. You hear us making fun of him, and you probably encountered, some of his stuff here and there.
The one with the squeaky voice.
Yeah, squeaky voice. Sounds like a leprechaun. But he was, so you're like, oh no, now is this going to be 2-on-1? Should I do this? I mean, I'm still sick. Should I go in there 2-on-1? And I said, no, having Ali Dawah in the mix actually makes it better and easier, not any harder, because he's going to say so much stupid stuff that it's going to be hilarious. So I said, no, it's actually better that they've got the two of them in there, because they act like clowns. And then sometime a little after that, you messaged me and said, wait, they said that Rashid is going to be on too. And I was like, wait, you and Rashid versus Mohammed Hijab and Ali Dawah? That's going to be awesome, because the only real thing they could say to you is, you don't know the Arabic. But Rashid would run circles around them in Arabic. So I was like, they have no way out. And so I'm thinking, oh, this is awesome. This is going to be cool. That's my recollection of events right up until Mohammed Hijab posted his video. They're trying to ambush us, but we're not going to fall for this. They're trying to set us up and saying what we can't say. And what they were claiming, maybe we should actually check out some of that video. Robert can share his thoughts on all this stuff, and then we can maybe watch some of the video. But they were blaming you, saying that you were somehow demanding that you only get to criticize Islam and they never get to say anything in response. And I talked to you, and you're like, I never said any of that stuff. I thought we were talking about my book, and then it was going to be a roundtable discussion. I didn't lay down any rule. You had a completely different impression of the discussion from what they got, and yet they're blaming you for making all these rules. And then they rescued themselves from the ambush, which as soon as I saw, it was like, no, you realize that Robert Spencer and Rashid are going to criticize Muhammad and the Quran, and you're going to look for a way to avoid a situation where the Quran and Muhammad are going to be under investigation. So my impression was that's why they were doing it. They knew that you and Rashid, on a large platform that would be getting millions of views, that Muhammad and the Quran would be criticized, and they didn't want that, and so they have to save face. So they back out and say you were trying to ambush them, and total nonsense.
Yeah, what I don't get. Well, I can give the timeline. I have the emails here from Patrick Bet-David's producer. I don't want to read his emails out, but I'll give the general outline of what happened.
So you're saying you do have the receipts, if anything.
Oh yeah. Okay, I got the
emails
right here. If anybody says that's not the way it happened, let them.
And so, just to be clear, the producer is not going to come out tomorrow and say, "Aha! Here's where Robert Spencer said I will only agree to appear on a podcast if I get to blast the Quran and no one gets to respond to anything I believe."
No, at no point did they ask me, or did I offer any input whatsoever as to what the topic would be. We never discussed that. The only thing what happened was on August 1st, he first wrote me, and like you said, I was very sick then, and he didn't say anything about anybody else. He just said, we'd like to have you on, said we could discuss the critical Quran. So that was all I knew. All right. And then the next day, I believe it was, August 2nd, he said it would be a roundtable discussion on Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, with Adam Sosnick talking about Judaism, Mohammed Hijab talking about Islam, and presumably I was the Christian. And that was all I knew all month of August. And I said, okay. And that was that. And then August 29th, he wrote and said, it's going to be Mohammed Hijab and Ali Dawah and you. And so I wrote back and said, so you're saying it's the two of them and me and that's it? And then the next day he wrote and said, oh, we're also going to have Rashid. So I thought, great. Apparently it's going to be Rashid and me and Mohammed Hijab and Ali Dawah. And he didn't mention the Jewish guy again, Adam Sosnick. So apparently it was going to be Mohammed Hijab and Ali Dawah and me and Rashid talking about whatever. Islam, Christianity, who knows what. And then, so you understand now that for all the month of August, they and I, that is the Patrick Bet David show, and we both had the impression that Mohammed Hijab was fine with appearing with me. And then it was, when did this video come out? The ambush video. September.
That was like this month, earlier this month.
September 8th.
So
September 8th. So 5 weeks after the first invitation and the first notification I got that Mohammed Hijab was involved, suddenly Mohammed Hijab is saying that I'm manipulating the topic, which was completely false because I never had any input on the topic, and that he would not appear with me on moral grounds because I'm so evil.
Yeah.
What I found so weird about this is, we were aware that this is being planned. And to be honest, the whole time I thought to myself, this is almost too good to be true, that they are actually going to, sit down on such a huge show with you and with Brother Rashid and have an open discussion. And we're talking about Mohammed Hijab and Ali Dawah, two very unhinged individuals when it comes to Muslim apologetics. Almost too good to be true. But they publish a video in which they make it look like they were going to be ambushed, but they were too smart, of course, to be ambushed. It just, my first thought was, okay, why would they not try to clarify the situation and try to figure it out and get in touch with them again, see where the communications went wrong, instead of sitting down and directly making such a video in which they not only accuse you, but also actually the host of the show of setting up a plot against them. It looks like they didn't have any good faith to begin with in that, and it was just an opportunity for them to play the victim and act like we are smart. We would never fall for the games of the deceivers, the disbelievers.
Yeah, and AP,
Allah's the best of schemers.
I didn't think they were going to do this, that they were going to post this thing and say, aha, we'll never do this. We'll never, haha, we didn't fall for this. I didn't think they were going to do that. But the entire time, Robert's saying, he's going to have this interaction. I'm thinking, what stunt is he going to pull? They're going to pull some sort of stunt. AP, have you ever had any sort of public interaction with these guys where they did not try to use deception?
I don't know, Robert, if you have seen my video on Mohammed Hijab, my very long one.
Yes,
but
I did.
I at one point agreed with Mohammed Hijab to have a debate. He agreed to that with me, a debate which he initiated. He challenged me. I came back to it. We agreed to having an online debate and so on. And eventually he made up some weird excuses and acted like I was at fault and then backed out of the debate. And
sounds like this.
I asked him, I said, why would you do this? We clearly agreed. And he said, well, okay, but we did not condition. We did not sign a contract. So therefore.
Yeah. And then when does he actually show up to confront you? On someone else's live stream when you're having a discussion. And then, so Robert, you're not familiar with this, but AP gets invited on, or invited himself on. Anyway, you end up on Adam Saleh, something like that. His pod, he has a huge channel, but AP ends up on there with them, and then they're like, and we have a special guest, Mohammed Hijab, and they bring on there. So it was like a setup, right? They're setting.
And I specifically asked them, so it's just going to be you two guys, and they're like, yes, come on.
You talked about that in the
just
video.
Us. Yeah, and I go there, and suddenly it's Mohammed Hijab appears, and
so
the same guy who backed out of an online debate with me set up a plot to have an ambush discussion. Yes.
And then
same time.
and then and so that's after my debate with Mohammed Hijab, where they have all these rules and we both agree to all these rules that there won't be any personal attacks, any going off, veering from certain topics and so on. And we're going to keep it friendly the entire time. We both agree. Then he goes down the list, breaks every agreement he did. I stick to it. People think I'm dumb for sticking to it, but I always deal with people afterwards if they pull stunts like that. But notice this guy's portraying himself as, strong and the hero, and he never feels confident enough to actually go into a discussion without some sort of imbalance of you're catching the other person off guard, or the other person has to play by rules that you don't play by, or the other person isn't going to break a deal, but you will. It's always got to be something like that. And then you look at this situation, and it's Mohammed Hijab and Ali Dawah, and you and Brother Rashid, and I don't even know if we can trust their version of events as far as what was being said, and they're not allowed to criticize and stuff because these guys are compulsive liars. But maybe I have the receipt too. We just don't know what was going on with the discussion with them. But the only point here is these guys never feel confident enough to actually go, here's me representing my position, here's you representing your position, and let's have a fair exchange. They always have to do something deceptive and manipulative beforehand to try and get some sort of tactical advantage or something like that. And so I was waiting for, like, what are they going to do? Because every time I hear about these guys, they always do something like that. So what are they going to do? And then I had no idea. They're just gonna, no, we're not going into any discussion with these guys. We'll make an excuse for why we will never have a discussion with Robert Spencer. And instead, we want only people who aren't going to criticize Muhammad and the Quran. And that's the deal that they wanted, and that's the deal they apparently got.
That's what they say. But what do you think, that they never intended to come? That even though it appeared to be all set, that for 5 weeks it was Mohammed Hijab and Ali Dawah and me and Rashid apparently, and they never intended to actually show up? They were always planning something.
Can't tell because
I'm not sure if it's helpful in this case, but when I asked Mohammed Hijab after the whole fallout regarding our debate agreement, when I asked him if that was his plan all along, I think he basically said that he would have never actually agreed to having a debate with me on the internet. So he did agree to something while planning on backing out and making a scene at some point. He basically admitted that later on.
And by the way, I mean, notice in the video he posted with Eddie from the Dean show, it's I'm not going in there in a situation where it's a Christian moderator and then the two Christians, so it's lopsided. It's like, wait a minute, you went on to AP, you went on to the discussion, and it's two Muslims and Mohammed Hijab.
That's different. I'm an enemy of Islam.
It was all Muslims setting up my debate with Hijab, and so suddenly we get to, he needs an excuse for backing out of a debate with Robert Spencer, because at the end of the day, guys, everyone watching, don't miss this as a central takeaway. They do not want Muhammad and the Quran up for serious discussion with people who are able to expose their lies. They're happy if you're just a random person, you walk up and say, hey, I heard Muhammad had sex with a 9-year-old girl. They're fine having a discussion with you about that topic because you don't know their responses, you don't know when they're lying and so on. They do not want a person who can actually expose their lies, especially on a podcast that's going to get millions of views. They don't want to go anywhere near that. And so they had to do something. They did more than I thought they were. I didn't think they were going to cancel. I just thought they were going to demand some rules in their favor or something like that. But yeah, they just did a whole meltdown, and let's get completely different opponents, ones who won't criticize Muhammad and the Quran. Interesting.
I have a theory, which is that Mohammed Hijab took when the Quran says Allah is the best of deceivers, he took that as a challenge and thought, I am an even better deceiver. I'm greater than Allah. So now he's out here trying to do the best deception, pull the best deception, and this is what it actually did, right? He explains in the video that in that discussion that he published with the Dean show, he explains that that they're not going to have a discussion with you. They asked for different opponents who are not so offensive toward Islam, because being offensive is apparently the problem. And we are supposed to completely ignore the fact that these two people are extremely, brutally offensive to anyone who has ever watched these people. I mean, they can. I can just bring a list out of all kinds of messed up stuff Mohammed Hijab ever said. But
prove it. I don't believe you, AP. Robert is new here. Robert is new to this Mohammed Hijab stuff. You can't just say something and not prove it. How do we know that you're not the best of deceivers?
I have a lot of stuff to offer. I don't even know where to start. What do you want to buy? Like,
well, since they're
Give
criticism,
me the whole Mohammed Hijab, the whole Mohammed Hijab presentation you've got. How much is it? Wait, how much is it?
It's too much, man. We will never be able to cover everything Mohammed Hijab has ever said and did when it comes to being a horrible individual. But yeah, so it already says here on the screen, Mohammed Hijab wants to rape our wives. Which
and that was based on Mohammed Hijab. Yeah, I believe certain. So this is a tweet from him. I believe certain anti-Muslim women would wish they lived in the medieval period, a period where if a war was won by the opposing side, so he's talking about the Muslims being the opposing side, it was conventional that people could be taken as booty. Some historical accounts actually say some women would dress up for the captor. Now look at what he's saying here. Certain anti-Muslim women who are criticizing Islam, they wish they lived in the medieval period where if the war, talking about anti-Muslims, was being fought, so this would be a war against Muslims, and the Muslims won, then the women would be taken as war booty. And he's saying these women would want to dress up so that they could be more attractive to the guys who are going to come in and take them as sex slaves. So look at what he's saying. Deep down, you women who criticize Islam, deep down you want us to come in there and take you as our sex slaves. Lovely guy. Lovely. This is the guy who's trying to build bridges. Isn't that what he says in his video? Oh, Robert Spencer, he's an Islamophobe. Me and Ali Dawah, we're just here to build bridges in the community. And we love they say anyone who knows anything about him knows that's absolute nonsense. But he says that because that will appeal to someone like Patrick Bet David. Oh yeah, building bridges. That is a good idea. That's good that you guys want to do that.
So far,
podcast where the premise of it is to try and create bridges, and you bring people who, frankly, are trying to break all bridges. I mean, these
unlike Mohammed Hijab, look at his face.
Interest in collaborating with Muslim people. It was a bit kind of off key from that perspective, but I think
this has Mohammed Hijab saying that the whole issue of building bridges would completely fail if you brought on somebody like Robert Spencer, because Robert Spencer is an Islamophobe. He's hateful. He doesn't want to build bridges. He wants to burn bridges. And that guy here is this guy who, by the way, also made a tweet about my wife in which he said, when these anti-Muslim attention whore Islamophobes,
you got to read this. You got to read this carefully because
need to get on their knees.
This was a habit back then with Hijab and his followers. They would make a tweet that is all about rape and torture, but then they add a bunch of words so they can say, well, technically it's not. It forced them to their knees in submission. It's intellectual submission. We're just talking about argumentation. Whipped. They're going to whip them once we force them to their knees. Oh, whip them by freedom of speech. And they reluctantly open their mouth in protestation to find they've been defiled by the truth. So it was this habit where we'll take all these horrible threats of rape and torture. We'll take all these threats of rape and torture and just add some words so that if the Twitter censors come along and say, what are you talking about? We're defiling them intellectually, not like, raping them like we say they want to be.
So if you read it like this, with all of that cut out, it becomes quite clear. When these whore Islamophobes need to get on their knees in submission before they are whipped by Muslims, and they reluctantly open their mouth in protestation to find that they have been defiled. He's here basically imagining all of these brave Muslims coming and building bridges with Islamophobic people, building bridges with Islamophobic women, in such a beautiful way, as you can see. He's all about building bridges. Building bridges. Ooh, building bridges. I don't know. Oh, he's the same guy who said, who told me to commit suicide. So yeah, here is that.
I would. If I were, he said something like, if I were an atheist like
the whole
Apis.
tweet here. I must shift the whole tweet somewhere. I can bring that up quickly.
Yeah, he repeatedly encouraged you to commit suicide. Just find a tall building and
Yeah. And later he claimed he was just doing that to test my moral consistency, because if I'm an atheist, then I shouldn't find anything wrong with suicide. So why would I be offended by that? Which is the dumbest thing and the dumbest take on moral philosophy that I've ever heard in my life.
AP just doesn't like my bridges. I'm building bridges. Building bridges so you can jump off them. There you go.
So if I were an anxiety-ridden, hate-filled nihilist atheist like Apus, I would consider suicide as a serious option. That is because the world offers such humans,
in quotation marks,
more pain than pleasure. The pain of being a coward, the pain of having no purpose, just finding a tall building. And
who's running right now?
And then I want to give you sincere advice. I think you should commit suicide, not because you are a talentless coward or because you are a waste of space. I think the world is offering you more pain than pleasure. It is not morally objectionable for you, so why not? This is the guy who wants to build bridges.
Build bridges, yeah. And shame on Robert Spencer for reporting on jihad all these years. That's why he's an Islamophobe you can't trust. We just want to build bridges on the PBD podcast and PBD podcast.
After all, it's all about salam, about sharing affection, love, and mercy.
Yeah, there it is. Look at Ali Dawa's face there. This is the guy who repeatedly tells, AP, that once he gets his Islamic State, AP is going to be executed. All ex-Muslims, at least the ones who publicly proclaim their apostasy and try to spread it, are all going to be executed. Yeah, I know. It's not like, it's not a situation where we can prove it.
That can't be true. Let's see if that's true. Let's see if that's true. Let's see if that's true.
What is this?
Like that, he's just believes in such things. Oh my God! Dawah and Mohammed Hijab and Imran, they believe that you should have capital punishment to apostates. And you just want Adam to be like, no, really? Bro, Adam is taking the mick out of you. This is a part of our religion. There's a reason to it. Yeah, there's a reason why there's a capital punishment, because people like you, little weaklings who leave their religion and cause corruption in the land by spreading it, the capital punishment in Islamic law would be applied to you. We have no doubt, and we're proud of that. Yeah, capital punishment will be applied in an Islamic state. Yeah, not individuals going and doing it themselves like idiots. Yeah, no, under an emir, it is done. Yes, and you know what? We'll be watching.
They'll be watching. They'll be in the crowd watching.
Even if there's corruption in the land, that's going to cause more damage to the society as a whole, because the Sharia didn't come to protect an individual's right. Hey, can I drink alcohol? Yeah, sure. Drink alcohol, run someone over, kill them, set all this kind of chaos. No, Islam said the right of the community is greater than you individual wanting your right to freedom, which is BS. Absolutely BS. Yeah, don't get me started. So,
So Patrick Bet David just said, fell for these guys saying, "Oh, they want to build bridges. Let's have them on." But
well, that's what they say. We don't know really what these think.
That's true. That's true. But Robert, a couple of interesting things here. Aren't you? I mean, all the criticisms against you isn't one of the big criticisms against you saying that Islam has a death penalty for apostates, and you must be making that up?
Yeah, it's just the whole list, David. You know, the death penalty for apostasy, child marriage, wife beating, all the things that are most noxious and unpleasant about Islam. And I've been called a liar for years for saying these things are part of Islam. And now the Dawah guys from nowadays are openly saying, and we are proud of it.
Yeah, and by the way, I've got a clip of Ali Dawah saying that if his daughter got her first period by the age of 9, that he would tell her she's ready to be married as a 9-year-old. We've got Mohammed Hijab.
That can't be true. That can't be true.
Yeah, we've got Mohammed Hijab saying that if you just go with the Quran, you conclude that you can have sex with a 5-year-old. We can't prove any of that, unfortunately. But
that cannot be true. That just I don't believe that. Wait a minute. I don't believe that. I would never believe that. Let's see.
Oh no, I keep saying things, and AP has all the evidence.
9 years old, I would say you are ready. You are ready to get married.
If there's fluff on the muff, then she is old enough.
Ali G. Dawah.
9 years old.
So we'll get to that.
If my daughter reached the age of menstruation at 9 years old, I would say you are ready. You are ready to get married.
If there's fluff.
So you are ready to get married if at the age of 9.
You're 9. And this is the guy who's going on the PBD podcast to build bridges of harmony and so on with everyone else. But no, those are the kinds of clips and those are the kinds of issues that they know those kinds of issues would come up in a discussion with you and Rashid. And so they don't want you on there. They want people who aren't going to bring those up because they don't want millions of people that they're trying to just dupe into accepting their Dawah script to find out what Islam really teaches on these issues. The other issue I wanted to bring up from the Ali Dawah, what he said right there, is that if you're an apostate and you're announcing your apostasy, you're spreading corruption in the land. Robert, where are they getting the whole corruption in the land from, that this would be a death penalty?
Well, David, that's from chapter 5, verse 33 of the Quran.
No.
Which,
No.
which says that those who spread corruption in the land should be killed or crucified or their hands and feet cut off on opposite sides.
That's in the Quran?
And that's
Chapter
awesome because
5, verse 33.
That's right after the verse that they always massively misquote for 532. If anyone kills a man, it's as if he's killed all mankind. They always misrepresent that one. But it's interesting because we're told that 532 shows that you can't kill in the name of Islam. 533 commands it. And here you have Ali Dawah saying that he's going to use this passage to kill apostates. And historically, even in Muslim countries today, if they don't have something more specific to charge them with, Robert, won't they charge someone like a pastor or something like that? If they catch someone preaching, charge them with something like spreading corruption in the land?
Oh, very much so. This is very common, especially in the Islamic Republic of Iran, where regularly protesters, people who are against the enforced hijab, people who are against the Islamic regime in some other way, that's what they're charged with, spreading corruption in the land. And it's a death penalty offense.
Okay, are we sure that this is in the Quran, though? It says here this is in chapter 5, verse 33, but maybe somebody, I don't know, manipulated this or something.
Yeah, I wrote that.
That makes
the
sense.
critical Quran.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Then I got Sahih International. They fell for it. It was amazing.
Look at his spelling of utilitarian.
Yeah, that's how he always says it.
Yeah.
I learned that on AP's video.
Utilitarian.
Utilitarian.
And you know, I wouldn't have a problem with, I don't want to nitpick. I wouldn't have a problem with somebody mispronouncing that word.
If
but
you did it, he would
it's
nitpick
someone. Yeah, but it's someone who claims to be an expert in the field in philosophy and moral philosophy, and who says to me that he could educate me, he could be my teacher and educate me on these things, and he doesn't know how utilitarianism is actually pronounced or spelled, and that's very, I don't know. I don't want to be petty, you know, but that's kind of weird, isn't it? Very, very weird. What else is there? He wanted to confront the listen, apostates, who will confront your slave masters, die in your rage. Somebody asked what slave masters. He said liberal white men. So he wants to confront all the white men who are our slave masters. That's very interesting, but I'm sure I took it out of context. They
That's
are
from
like
the Quran,
yeah.
chapter 8, verse 55.
No.
Yeah, look it up.
And that's one of the situations where he can put it like that. All of his Muslim fans will immediately know what he's saying, but an average person who doesn't know what's in the Quran, doesn't know how Muslims quote this, would not have an idea that he's actually attacking them. You'd be slaughtered like cattle.
Wait, you said 855?
855. 855 says animals. Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay. The worst of
The most ungrateful of people, of beings. Yeah, there you go. The worst of living creatures are those who've disbelieved, and they are like animals. Different translation.
Okay. Yeah. There is another one which says, "Indeed, they are worse, or they are less than cattle."
Yeah, I think that might be in chapter 6. David, do you remember? I'm not sure where that is
We'll
offhand.
look it up right now.
It's in there, though.
Numbers. I don't remember numbers. Here he was justifying his behavior toward non-Muslims, saying, "Why so harsh against the enemies? Using sexual references as precedent in the religion to anti-Muslim enemies. I take the advice my application may have been unwise or miscalculated. All figures I have called publicly interrogated have public profiles." And then he cites these sources here. Abu Bakr did, according to this. The Arabs used to insult with this expression, but with the wording mother, saying, "Go suck the clitoris of your mother." So Abu Bakr wanted to exaggerate in insulting Urwa by placing what Urwa worshipped in the position of his mother, and he did so because of being angered by the statement that the Muslims would flee. Is this the one? Oh, here. Okay, this is actually the relevant one, the one he goes to. In the words of Abu Bakr to Urwa, "Suck the clitoris of Allah," is evidence that it is permissible to explicitly mention the name of the private parts if there is a benefit which is necessitated by that circumstance, according to the great scholar Ibn Taymiyyah. And actually, here's it's Ibn Qayyim. So he thinks, because there's precedent in Islam of insulting the disbelievers and their gods and mentioning something like lick the clitoris of Allah, it is therefore also permissible for him to get really nasty and perverted and talk about sex and rape and things like that when he is addressing the enemies of Islam, like myself. He was talking about me in this case. And this is the one who wants to build bridges. He wants to build bridges.
Yeah, notice that situation with Abu Bakr saying to a polytheist, "Go suck the clitoris of Allah," saying, "Go perform oral sex on your goddess." You know, that's bridge building. And this is Mohammed Hijab defending his treatment of unbelievers by pointing out this is how we act towards them. By the way, guys, reference is 7:179 as far as that particular quote. So you have all kinds of things.
Oh, yes, thank you.
Saying we're the worst of creatures and we're the lowest of creatures and things like that. But yeah, many are the jinns and men we have made for hell. They have hearts wherewith they understand not, eyes wherewith they see not, and ears wherewith they hear not. They are like cattle.
There you go. Thank you.
I look at this one. This is the guy who wants to build bridges. He says to two ex-Muslims, just because they happen to be ex-Muslims who criticize him, he says, "To cringe, apostate, and AG, since it is not against your worldview, have you ever considered, or indeed have you ever been requested to provide a male escort to provide services for your partners?" And he wants to build bridges. This guy.
He's doing a great job building bridges. But guys, notice, I mean, he only has two speeds, nice and nasty, right? That's it. That's the only thing. If you're not doing what he wants, he will shower you with threats and abuse and insults and suggesting you commit suicide, calling you all kinds of names and so on. And when you do what he wants, he showers you with praise and so on. And it's all with the exact same goal: controlling people's behavior. If you're someone who's criticizing Islam, he's gonna threaten and heap abuse on you until you give up and shut your mouth. If you're going to help him do his dawah, then he'll shower you with praises. But it's always just controlling the situation and controlling the behavior of everyone around you. And sad part is, people fall for it.
This guy has a very strange fascination with sexual deviance and perversion, which
showers.
He's always projecting on everybody else. But you got to wonder. I mean, none of us here talk this way all the time.
No.
If it's this constantly on his mind, you got to wonder.
Like this, you mean? These strange comments. Let me read. "You two can play with each other. Get on your knees for David Wood. Gimp. David Wood can give you a golden shower. Go ahead and give David Wood what he wants. Wink. Let David Wood give you a golden shower. Gimp. Get on your knees for your master, boy. You can suck that. Golden showered from your master. I know you need a slave master. Golden shower.
He pronounced his typo.
For your master. Let him slap your face, you fiend." I have a sound for that too.
This man has real problems.
Okay.
But this is Mohammed Hijab building bridges. So anyway, Robert, this is what you had to look forward to, because you would have gone in there, you would have schooled Hijab, and then he would have been sending you these kinds of messages in his effort to build bridges afterwards. Golden showers, you get on your knees, Robert Spencer. Ha ha. What's funny is I don't know if Patrick does not have any sort of vetting crew or something like that. And keep in mind, I'm not saying he shouldn't have Mohammed Hijab on. I really want him to have Mohammed Hijab. He should have Mohammed Hijab on every week to share his thoughts with the world, because the bigger Ali Dawah and Mohammed Hijab get, the more damage they're going to do to the Muslim community.
Well, you know, in the video with Eddie, Mohammed Hijab says that he talked to Patrick Bet-David, and that Patrick Bet-David confessed that he didn't know anything about me, that he's very busy. He goes from show to show, and he has people who look into this sort of thing. And so he had no idea how evil I was. And I'm not saying that any of this is true. I'm just saying that that's what Mohammed Hijab was saying. But if there is any truth to it, then Patrick Bet-David likely does not know exactly what he's dealing with Mohammed Hijab, and needs to be informed.
Yeah, he definitely needs to know more about this guy.
I think if only to ask him about this, how all of this relates to his bridge building work. Like, hey, how are you building bridges with this stuff?
Indeed.
I think I made some timestamps here for that video. Let me see. Let's see if that's.
We don't agree to everything, and we don't disagree to everything. We bring ourselves a favorable result, which means that we need to be wise with these things. And I think having this emergency meeting with Patrick Bet-David was the wise thing to do. And his response,
the cowardly thing and deceptive and manipulative thing to do.
I think he's a very pragmatic person, and you can't be that successful in business as he is.
Notice how in the video that they published before this, they were basically blasting Patrick Bet-David for setting up a plot against them, and then immediately, as soon as the problem is resolved, he's like, "Yeah, he's a pragmatic guy. Like he knows what he's doing."
By the way, notice that is the exact same principle always in Islam, right? Your wife gets out of line, you beat her, but then if she stops, then we're good. We're good. It's always like, we're gonna kill and slaughter. Oh no, you're okay. No, you're doing what we want. Okay, then we're good.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
an empire of
you always have to wonder, like, how stupid can people be falling for this? But yeah, if you're in a situation, you just have no idea. I mean, think about this from Patrick Bet-David's perspective. If he's having people like recommend who to get on here and stuff, and Robert Spencer gets recommended, and Rashid gets recommended, and Mohammed Hijab and Ali Dawah, people suggest them, hey, well, let's get all these guys together on here. And then these guys, Robert Spencer's this horrible, evil person who horrible. Whereas we're all about building bridges. He doesn't know any better, so he's taking their word for it. Oh yeah, Robert Spencer, evil, horrible guy, and you guys are the good guys who want to build bridges. Oh, okay, let me go with that. And it's just like, seriously, you don't want to look into this even slightly?
Well, he is still having me on. As far as I know, we're still set. It's going to be Thursday with Eddie here and Daniel Hakikachu. And so that's going to be interesting.
That's a revelation. I personally, I love Daniel Hakikachu. He's my favorite go-to Muslim commentator if people want to know more about Islam. So, and I think that he is, like, contrary to Mohammed Hijab and Ali Dawah, at least he has the courage to actually go there and have an actual discussion and argue.
Daniel's not scared,
Islam, right? Yeah.
So to his credit.
Yeah.
I mean, think about this, guys. Robert Spencer, Robert's the OG of all this stuff. He was before all of us dealing with exposing jihad. Brother Rashid, he was before me. I mean, when I started, I was hearing about Zachariah Boutros and Brother Rashid. They were the guys doing it in Arabic, and there were only a couple people exposing Islam in English. So, I mean, these guys had an awesome if they really want to expose Islamophobes, why wouldn't you want to go in there with Robert Spencer and Brother Rashid? Why wouldn't you want to, like, just go in there blasting away at them and expose all their lies and so on? Because you know what's going to happen. Millions of people are going to hear a bunch of stuff that you can't answer at all. And if you try to lie, it's not going to work because you got Robert Spencer and Brother Rashid there. And so what do you have to do? Oh no, they're trying to ambush us. Cowards, man. Total cowards.
Let's see. I think
in this meeting now we can see like what the way you were presenting everything, and then he got into, he's very transparent. He was showing his emails, how he gets things, the short amount of time, this, that, and the other, and you're really not knowing on one end who this person, on the other, these Islamophobes, career Islamophobe, and then you also, now it's coming down to the time that you need to know like what's going on so you can better prepare. So you can see
why were they afraid to
both
mention my name? They never mentioned my name in this video.
yeah, they do that. They do briefly mention Brother Rashid's name.
Yes,
and he does stuff in Arabic anyway, but they abstain completely from mentioning your name here. They just refer to you as
they
the other
named
one.
me in the ambush video, but
Yeah.
not in this one. And I was wondering what's up with that. I don't understand the tactic there. Allah is such a good schemer. I can't even figure out his scheme.
Well, it's also messed up because Eddie here says that the opponents that were scheduled, they were the ones who inspired Anders Breivik. Total nonsense. I mean, but at least you're mentioned by Breivik. But they say it's both of you, like both you guys are mentioned by Breivik. And Breivik doesn't mention you as any possible inspiration. According to the manifesto, I actually read it back. It's 1,500 pages. I didn't read every word because some of it's like weird, like daily schedules and recipes and stuff. It was all like, also the dude's nuts. But his descriptions on how he was coming to his conclusions and so on, he was crystal clear on how he came to the conclusion. He said when he was young and growing up, in his area, he saw how he saw that the Muslims who moved there were mistreating other people, and he didn't know what to do about it. And he said he eventually read the Quran and the Hadith and found out that these things are taught by Islam. So he wanted to do something about it. He said he decided that he would go into politics to try and address things at a political level. But then he concluded that because politicians and the media shut down any sort of discussions or criticism of Islam, he said he regarded it as pointless, and therefore the time for discussion is completely over. You have to do something to get the world's attention. And then he said he learned from Muslims. I could give you the quote. I could pull it up right here. He said he learned from Muslims that the way to get your message through the media blockade is deadly shock attacks. This is what will get the world's attention. And he decided all of that by 1999, which was, if I recall, the first time I think most people heard about you, Robert, was like 2003 or something. So yeah. This was already in motion. He had already planned. Everything had already happened. When you ask, why did you decide to do this? It's because of things that Muslims were doing, because of what's in the Quran and the Hadith, and because of politicians and journalists. And because the people who taught me the way to actually get my message across were terrorists, and therefore I'm going to learn my lessons from everyone here, and I'm going to go launch a terrorist attack. He concluded all of that before any of us had ever heard from you. But Mohammed Hijab and Ali Dawah and even Eddie there from the Dean Show are all blaming you. You're the one. Anders Breivik sitting around minding his own business one day, and then he reads Robert Spencer's book and decides to go on a killing spree against a bunch of what was it, like teenagers?
Yeah, the youth camp.
Teenagers on an island. Yeah, so he goes to youth camp, and I'm going to go mass murder all these people at this youth camp.
Non-Muslims, by the way.
Yeah, and somehow they say you've got blood on your hands because of this, even though you couldn't, unless you have a time machine that we don't know about, Robert. You could not have possibly been the inspiration. He says what gave him all the ideas. Again, it's Muslims, the Muslim sources, politicians, and journalists. That's everyone he blamed for why he came to his conclusion. Nothing to do with you. Somehow it's your fault. Somehow you've got a time machine powered by 1.21 gigawatts of Islamophobia, and you went back, inspired him to do all these things. That's their explanation. But then they lump Rashid in here. Eddie lumps Rashid in there as, yeah, he did it too, and they're blaming you for this. And then all the thousands of terrorist attacks that happen every year where you've got jihadis citing why they're doing it. None of that is blood on the hands of Muhammad. None of that is blood on the Quran. None of that is blood on any of this. None of this is blood on Ali Dawah saying that people like AP have to be killed. None of that has anything to do with anything. But because Anders Breivik quoted you in his section on jihad, where he was just saying this is what jihad teaches, And he quotes the Quran and the Hadith repeatedly and so on, but he also quotes you and a few others just to say what jihad is. That's enough to marginalize you forever.
This is the guy we were talking about. Some people are asking, who are you talking about, because they didn't know the context. But so Anders Breivik is a mass killer who in 2011 in Norway killed 77 people, teenagers, non-Muslims, and he did some really messed up things. Like this guy doesn't align politically or morally, socially with Robert Spencer here at all. All that did happen is that this guy was inspired by Islamic terrorism, so he decided to commit an act of terrorism in order to send a message, which failed. And somewhere along the way, he referenced Robert Spencer, but also many other people, and he even cited Mohammed and Allah. But now they want to claim that because he cited Robert Spencer at some point, that Robert Spencer basically has blood on his hands and that he is responsible for this mass killing, which is complete nonsense. It is a far stretch, and it is much more likely that Allah and Muhammad are responsible for every single terrorist act committed by Islamic terrorists in the world, because they keep citing Allah and Muhammad as their reasons directly, which is not even true in the case of this guy and Robert Spencer. And this is the kind of deception that Mohammed Hijab and Dawah use.
What he did was he took a documentary film that I was in like 2002 or 3, and he had the whole script, the whole transcript, which is also very suspicious because it was never published or even made. Oh. And so I don't know who made the transcript for him, but it was the whole movie was in there. And so people say, oh, see, Spencer wasn't just quoted once, he's quoted 164 times by Anders Breivik. It's because that's every time I spoke in this movie.
Gee, oh my, wow.
So the whole movie is in his manifesto, and that's what he's saying. And not only that, later on, he's saying we have to deal with, even though he said very openly, as David explained, that he was inspired by the jihadis, he's saying we have to do something about Islam in Europe, and that's why people blame me. But he actually criticizes me explicitly for not being violent. And then people turn around and say, you see, that means Spencer had inspired him to kill people. Well, actually, he explicitly ruled that out. And if quoting me makes me evil, then like you say, then all these jihadis quoting the Quran make the Quran evil. And there's all sorts of other examples. Osama bin Laden quotes Noam Chomsky. He loves Noam Chomsky. Nobody ever goes to Noam Chomsky and says, you have blood on your hands because Osama bin Laden quoted you. There was a shooter in Dayton, Ohio, a few years back, and he left a manifesto quoting Elizabeth Warren, the senator from Massachusetts. Nobody ever says, oh, Elizabeth Warren has blood on her hands. It's just a means to discredit me. Mm-hmm. And the fact is, it's interesting to note that neither Mohammed Hijab nor anybody else can ever come up with anything that I say about Islam that is actually false. They can't say, oh, see, he tells falsehoods about Islam, so they have to fall back on this Breivik thing, which is completely fabricated.
But he also cited John Stuart Mill, by the way. So that means John Stuart Mill has blood on his hands, and John Locke, by the way, he also has blood on his hands.
And Obama.
Obama also has blood. Yeah, somebody pointed out Mahatma Gandhi is mentioned, so Gandhi also has blood on his hands.
Yeah, I remember right after the attack, his Facebook page was still up, and I went to his Facebook page, and it was all this stuff about he was emphasizing that we need to be pragmatic, and so what he was saying is all the people who came before him who criticized Islam, they're not willing to go on a killing spree, and we have to be pragmatic about this. But then he had all these links to pragmatism by William James, and it's funny. Pragmatism is American philosophical. It's the, you've got analytic philosophy, and then you have continental philosophy, which is garbage, and then American philosophy, which I mean, you have a bunch of American philosophy, but the movement there was pragmatism, and that's William James and Josiah Royce and Pierce and so on. And but what's funny is that has nothing to do with being pragmatic, like he was talking about. He didn't understand what he was citing. But yeah, he's a guy who likes to jumble a bunch of things together as support. And at the end of the day, he said exactly what led him to his attacks, and everything was in motion from 1999. And from that point on, the rest of the time, the next 12 years, was all spent in preparation for what he decided he was going to do in 1999. Once more, unless Robert has a time machine that we're not aware of, couldn't have had anything to do with that attack. And the other thing, notice what Robert just pointed. I said it earlier. Why are they trying to pin that on you? Their goal is not to answer you. The goal is not to respond to you. The goal is not to show that you've gotten something wrong. The goal is to discredit and marginalize you so that they never have to deal with that. And anyone who criticizes Islam, they want to do the exact same thing. That's an Islamophobe. We're trying to build bridges here, man. Get the Islamophobes out of here and only have people on who are either just going to agree with us or who don't know anything about the Quran and the Hadith. And then we'll interact with them so we can work on our bridges, which for them means we'll be attacking you the entire time and you sit back and take it. And no one knows about the problems with Muhammad and the Quran.
Well, you know, Sayyid Qutb said, the great Muslim Brotherhood theorist and Islamic scholar of the 20th century, he said that, yes, we should build bridges. There you go. It's probably in milestones that we should build bridges with the infidels. And we have to understand that that is a one-way bridge. This is not a give and take. This is a means of dawah.
Yeah.
But anyway, why was Mohammed Hijab fine with talking to me for 5 weeks, and then suddenly I have blood on my hands and he won't appear with me? What happened? I don't know. There's nothing public about that.
He will agree to go on any big show. He's a narcissist. That's their goal. In fact, since you haven't been dealing with the Dawah guys, Robert, their new goal, since all their arguments have come crumbling down, right? They lied about perfect preservation of the Quran for a while. Then that got exposed, fortunately, by Mohammed Hijab and Yasser Qadi, the holes in the narrative interview. And then the scientific miracles. Oh, there's scientific miracles in the Quran. That got exposed. And now even Ali Dawah has admitted that it was all a lie. But interestingly, Ali Dawah in that same video said that what's going to draw people to Islam is our intolerance. He goes, what is going to draw them is our intolerance, right? That since they don't have any evidence anymore, it's their intolerance that's going to draw them.
Well, isn't that what drew Andrew Tate?
What's that?
Isn't that what drew Andrew Tate?
Yeah. So
they'll kill you if you insult them. I respect that.
Yeah. That's their whole plan. That's going to be their new draw because they realize all their arguments have failed. So, but their new entire Dawah plan for like the last 2 years has been since everyone who's actually dealt with these arguments in the past knows that they're completely bogus and knows how stupid they are. We have to present Islam to a new audiences that don't know anything about Islam. And so their goal has been to get on these, the Jordan Peterson and Michaela Peterson, and they've been trying to get on Joe Rogan for a while. By the way, that's why they were praising him in this video. Oh, Joe Rogan, he's so great. Oh, yes, he's so wonderful.
Joe Rogan.
They're trying to get on there. PBD podcast. They want to be on all these podcasts specifically because they want people who have no idea what Islam teaches that you can lie to, but they don't want anyone on the other side who's going to be able to expose their lies. And so they want to rig it. So they go on huge podcasts and can lie about Islam all day. No one can correct them. And that's their entire approach. And so they don't want anyone else. And so, yeah, they have to discredit you. And that's just their methodology. And it's just, they keep doing it. And you think, how can anyone fall for this? But that's it's evil, but that is the smart part about the strategy is they know there are people with big podcasts who don't know anything about Islam. And if you go in there, I'm just trying to build bridges here. But the Islamophobes are the problem. If we can get the Islamophobes off here and I can just do my Dawah spiel on your podcast, then we can really get along and build bridges. And they know people are, oh, that's a good idea. And so people fall for it and they don't realize they're dealing with compulsive liars, narcissists, and professional manipulators. And again, I love it. I love it because they don't realize what the actual outcome of all this. They're gonna lie a bunch. Yes, they will get some people who go, oh, that's what Islam teaches. Let me convert.
Oh, I never knew about this.
A portion of those people are going to find out later on that this has all been a lie, like with the scientific miracles and all this stuff. And so they're actually creating the next generation of ex-Muslims. And some of those ex-Muslims are going to be ticked off that they got lied to. And so, I'm getting old. Robert, You're getting old. AP, you will eventually be getting old.
I was just
We're
born.
going to have the next generation of ex-Muslims coming into to school the next generation of Dawah liars.
Hey, how about this? Salman Rushdie was recently, was it last year? Last year he was attacked, right? He was stabbed on stage by by a very passionate Muslim believer, and of course, Mohammed Hijab is somebody who wants to build bridges and appeal to the values of Western people all around. He would of course completely condemn and absolutely reject such violence against an author. So I quickly want to look at what he said in response to the attacks on Salman Rushdie.
His video is a very, very good point, which is that he said, why do you specialize Islam in this discussion when, if the sacred symbols of other peoples from other faiths, as we've seen with the Hindutva in India, he makes the example of Ataturk in Turkey, some Kurdish leader he mentions. We can go on and on. If you try and desecrate the sacred symbols of individuals, the gangster communities among them will deal with you, my friends.
Mm-hmm.
We're not condoning such a thing at all. But that is a reality. We, the Muslims, at 1.8 billion, which represent, according to Pew, will represent a third of the population of the world. 1 in 3, at least 1 in 4 now. You don't think we have gangsters? We have Muslim gangsters as well. And when you go ahead and attack the sacred symbols of Islam, although our approach is not to do so, we can't stop the gangsters from dealing with you or anyone else. We can't stop the Muslim gangsters from dealing with you or anyone else. Just like if you go to Colombia and you speak about particular cartel in a specific manner, go to their area and be a man and speak about them.
Is he comparing Islam to a drug cartel?
Yes.
What an Islamophobe.
Precisely, that's what he's doing. So what he's basically saying is, yeah, no, we will not do anything. We will not say that should be done, but we have gangsters, and those gangsters, they will come to you and they will punish you. This is a very common, very, very simple, very blatant way of basically saying, I'm not doing anything wrong. Don't implicate me. But there are lots of people out there who are from us who will punish you. And of course, this is like, what's this called? Is it dog whistle? Is that what he's doing?
Yeah, it's the same thing he does with his tweets, where he'll be saying something that's very clear, but he'll add some words so that, hey, I'm not doing anything here. I'm just talking about forcing them to their knees in intellectual submission and finding that they've been defiled by the truth. It's him adding a bunch of words in there. But yes, this is very clearly, oh yeah, I'm not going to go around slaughtering people for criticizing Muhammad or writing a book back in the 1980s. I'm not going to do that. But for the rest of you, I can't control all my fans who are going to go on a killing spree if you do these things. So just be aware, you're going to die and you're going to be brutally murdered by my fans.
Yeah, so maybe Patrick Bet-David and his team, whoever is in charge, maybe they should look at this and they should, I don't know, maybe discuss this. They should discuss whether a guy who publishes a video in which he basically issues these subtle approvals of hunting down and punishing the enemies of Islam who disrespect Islam. They should maybe discuss whether this guy is a good candidate to build the bridges with.
It's going to be building some bridges.
Yeah,
the bridges might have explosives attached.
Yeah. Even better, like special bridges. Yeah. Oh boy. Okay.
Again, and just coming together, because these people that were lined up, I mean, these are career Islamophobes. Absolutely. These are people with blood on their hands. These are people who
hang on, just to clarify. So it's Robert Spencer and Brother Rashid. Brother Rashid is an ex-Muslim from Morocco. His dad was an imam. He converted to Christianity, and he preaches the gospel and criticizes Islam in Arabic. These guys are saying blood on his hands. Hey, Robert, it might be a good point of discussion, since Eddie's going to be there, to ask him what blood Rashid has on his hands, and why the Muhammad and the Quran have none on theirs.
Look, Robert, how David is throwing you under the bus here. He's like,
Yeah.
Robert does have blood on his hands, but leave Brother Rashid out of this.
Hey, Robert, you might. I mean, Eddie's probably gonna watch this, but Robert, if it comes up, you and Breivik and stuff like that, because he's saying, I mean, this guy has.
Eddie's certainly going to mention that. There's 100%.
Yeah, so you can actually bring the quotes from Anders Breivik when he talks about why he decided that violence is the only way. Got the quotation right here, Eddie. And I don't actually have anything against Eddie. I don't know enough about him to have a negative view of him. The other Dawah guys, I've seen enough like pure evil from them to know what I'm dealing with. Eddie, I have no feelings one way or another towards Eddie. Seems like a nice guy. But here's the quote from Breivik's manifesto on why he decided violence is the only way. Unfortunately, spectacular operations like these are the only way to be heard. Everything else we have tried has failed and yielded nothing. The Muslims showed us that deadly shock attacks are the only tool we have at the moment which will guarantee that our voice is heard. So he's saying he got the idea for the deadly shock attacks from from Muslims. Oopsie.
Yes, indeed.
I guess the terrorists have blood on their hands beyond the people they murdered. They actually incited Anders Breivik to go kill a bunch of teenagers at a youth camp.
So in the end, by their logic, it is again Allah who has blood on his hands due to the mass murder committed by Anders Breivik. Fantastic. How are you going to get out of that situation? We will never know.
The Andrew Breivik, was it?
Anders
he's mentioned in his Anders Breivik in his manifesto was mentioned these people. So this was very sensitive.
These people, got to ask him where Rashid's mentioned. Matter of fact, let me search.
Specialty, and you dealt with people like this, but it was nice to see how he had presented things. You could see where he was coming from, and then how everything just at the end it came out to a positive ending. What were your thoughts about that?
Absolutely, and I think the way he presented it was that he had no idea who these people were, and I have good reason to believe that, especially the second person, who is Rashid Hamimi, he wouldn't know who he was because most of his content is in the Arabic language. So that unless you have access to that, fair play, you won't know who he is. But these people have had strong anti-Islamic sentiments, and they attack the Prophet of Islam. Not just that, not just the fact that they attack the Prophet of Islam and Muslim people, but they effectively try and make life harder for Muslim people in the West. I mean, some of the organizations and what they're dealing with.
How do I do that?
By telling people what jihadis are doing. If you report, notice the reasoning. Notice the reasoning, because this is what's creepy. The goal of people like Mohammed Hijab is always to silence. Now think about this. If Islam were really peaceful and so on, shouldn't they be glad that you're exposing the jihadis and showing what the jihadis are doing so that these guys can be exposed and marginalized and so on? Instead, it's, Robert is one of the only people who reports regularly on jihad, and therefore we have to silence him, and we have to call him an Islamophobe and make sure that we don't sit down and actually have a discussion with him. But I mean, it's pure cowardice. It's pure absolute cowardice. Ali Dawah has called for more violence than I've ever seen Robert call for.
This is so ridiculous. He says Robert Spencer is somebody who is trying to make life harder for Muslims, while he's coming with his best friend who basically says here that
people like you, little weaklings who leave their religion and cause corruption in the land by spreading it, the capital punishment in Islamic law would be applied to you. We have no doubt, and we're proud of that.
So,
and by the way, and AP, notice it's not just go after you and threaten you and tell you that if they get their way, you're going to be executed. It's not just harassing you, saying that you're going to be that you should commit suicide. It's not just golden showers, blah blah blah. It's not just that. It's not just going after your wife. You know what I mean? How is this not trying to make your life harder? Trying to make life harder for ex-Muslims.
No, they just want to make it easier for me. They want to they know that life would be harder for me in an Islamic state, so they want to relieve me of that hardship by executing me and other ex-Muslims like me. There's actually it's actually mercy on their part.
Absolute cowards, man. Total cowards. Had a chance to expose Robert Spencer,
Since we're speaking
and
of
they
making life
and
harder,
they
for people-
ran, and they totally ran.
Mohammed Hijab, if you're watching this, you're a total coward.
You are a total coward.
You are a coward. You are a coward, in
As
fact.
well as a liar.
Ready? Look at me. Look at me. You know you're done.
Okay.
Look at me, boy! You're a coward!
Let me play you
It's for
this.
non-allegiance to a state.
And you believe that the state should be Islamic and everybody should be forced to pledge allegiance to the state, don't you?
No, I don't think that is. And look, if it's a Muslim majority country, absolutely. But if it's a Muslim-
Absolutely.
yeah, if it's a Muslim
So what is the difference then?
No, if
You
it's a
believe
Muslim
that an
majority-
Islamic state should be established.
I think if it's a Muslim majority country, if they want Islam, then surely on democratic principles, outsiders should have
No, it's
nothing to do with it.
democratic.
You believe that an Islamic state, an Islamic government should be established if the majority is Muslim. You, for example, want to spread Islam to the entire UK. So if the
No, I don't
majority of the
want to-
entire
look,
UK,
to
if
be
the
honest,
majority of
this
the
is
entire
the
UK
right
was
position.
Muslim,
No,
you
no,
would
no,
want
I
everybody
don't believe
to
in that. I don't
adhere
believe
to an Islamic state, and this
Look,
Islamic state should require.
I
everybody
don't
to
want an
pledge
Islamic
allegiance to
state in
Islam.
Britain. I'm not asking.
That doesn't make any sense. He wants to spread Islam, at which he's not really doing a good job. And he would love to see people convert to Islam in masses. And he also believes that a majority Muslim country should establish an Islamic state. And he is a Muslim proselytizer in England, which concludes that the UK would also be an Islamic state, or Britain, or England, whatever you call it. And that Islamic state would require its Muslim population and the rest of its population to be loyal to this Islamic state. And you believe that the state should be Islamic and everybody should be forced to pledge allegiance to the state, don't you?
No, I don't think that is. And look, if it's a Muslim majority country, absolutely.
And this guy is talking about how Robert Spencer wants to make life harder for Muslims in the West. This
There
is
you
just
go.
ridiculous, man.
Yes.
Anyway, anything else you want to cover?
I don't know,
David?
man. It's pretty straightforward. I'm looking forward to. I mean, you know, a lot of people have their objections to Daniel, and I haven't watched it yet, but I heard he completely misrepresented inspiring philosophy and so on. So there's that. But I mean, at least he's not a total coward running from an agreement. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
What do you do with that? And what what's interesting? If the situation had been completely reversed, and it was going to be Robert Spencer and Brother Rashid versus Mohammed Hijab and Ali Dawah, and then Brother Rashid and Robert had somehow said, "Oh, since Ali Dawah calls for the death of apostates, and Rashid is an apostate, and since Mohammed Hijab says all these things and tells people to commit suicide and so on, we don't want any part of this." They would have been making videos about what cowards you are for running and so on. They would have been. Matter of fact, you're wondering what he was doing for that entire 5 weeks where everything is on. He's probably waiting for you guys to come up with some reason to back out so he can say you ran like cowards. And then when you didn't run, you guys were totally on. Then he had to run like a coward, but he has to thump his chest. It's because we're so smart and we didn't fall for the ambush, which had absolutely nothing to do with Robert. Because, oh wow, what a joke, man! This Dawah was a joke, man. They wonder why they're dealing with the avalanche of apostasy, and these are their, Mohammed Hijab and Ali Dawah are their poster boys.
And you know what they do to make people like their religion again? They say they are not doing it, but then they are doing it. Here in this video, at around 29:30 or something, they start talking about how Muslims are the one who actually love Jesus, and they love Jesus. They respect Jesus. They recognize Jesus, and they excommunicate all those who do not acknowledge Jesus and stuff like that. Completely trying to appeal to ignorant Western people in this very deceptive, slimy way. And
This is all meant for, because anyone who knows Mohammed Hijab is not buying any of this. They know it's complete nonsense. Mohammed Hijab is the big bridge builder. This is made for Patrick Bet David's fans and producers and so on to watch this and go, oh wow, yeah, these are the nice guys who are just trying to build bridges out there. And they love Jesus. Oh, wow. Wouldn't that be great to have a great friendly religious discussion with these guys? Let's get a couple of people on here who love discussion and who love bridges and who would never criticize Muhammad or the Quran. so we can build bridges. My goodness, man.
Disgusting.
Cowards. Absolute cowards.
Disgusting. Absolute cowards. By the way, I made a long video, a video that I'm personally proud of. I say that very
You're
rarely.
proud of that.
I'm proud of it. I need to add that sound to my soundboard. I didn't do that yet.
That should be button number 1, man. Come on.
I know. I wasn't.
Is this amateur hour?
I didn't have the time yet, but I made a video titled "How Islam Got Jesus Completely Wrong," which is 13 minutes in which I explain how Islam entirely misrepresents and misunderstands Jesus, and how Muslims completely misunderstand Jesus, how they don't really know what Jesus is about in Christianity, and how the Quran gets the history of Jesus completely wrong. I would recommend.
I just had a debate on that. I just had a debate on whether Jesus was a Muslim.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. Kenny Bomer, my Dawah opponent, the only thing he could really argue is that in the technical sense of the word Muslim, as one who submits, since Jesus submitted himself as the son to the Father, he's technically fits the definition.
But if Abraham was a Muslim in the Quran, that's chapter 3, verse 67, kids, then Jesus must have been also.
Of course.
Especially since in 61:6 he says Muhammad is coming. Ahmed.
Got to be. Yep. Airtight case.
Yep.
Well, Alexander the Great was a Muslim also.
Yep.
So.
Oh yeah.
Powerful. He was great. He was great.
There you go.
Oh, you had up, by the way, somebody asking my my YouTube channel. Which
yes, I wanted to say
there's not a whole lot there, but it's Jihad Watch video most every Wednesday night, although not lately, but we're going to keep doing it. This Week in Jihad with David Wood and me, and one day I'm going to start doing some other videos too, but right now I'm writing a critical biography of Muhammad, and man, it's going to blow some minds. I'm going through the texts, the Islamic texts, Al-Waqidi ibn Sa'd, Ibn Hisham, Ibn Ishaq, that is, and Bukhari, and all the other hadith, the Sirah material in the hadith, and showing all the contradictions and how there's so many things that are controverted in the story. So watch for that next year. But anyway, I'm hoping to make more videos one of these days. But in the meantime, you can catch David and me most Wednesdays this week in Jihad.
Inshallah. Yeah.
Inshallah.
You can watch out for that. That's fantastic. I will link it in the description as well. I'll link to your channel so that people go to you. I usually charge $500 for each link.
I'll write a check.
Just kidding. That would be very, very bad. Royal Castrator said, Albanian ex-Muslim here. This world needs more Robert Spencers, but he didn't spell your name right, so he's probably talking about somebody else. I don't know.
Yeah, Richard.
That clearly said Robet Spencer. Robet Spencers.
Robet, yeah. It's the French version.
Control Yourself said Mohammed Hijab and Dawah are obviously trolling Muslims. I mean, how many times has Mimi totally exposed Islam? Now Lily is also exposing Islam's scientific miracles while pretending to be Muslim.
Yeah, that's why I said, and AP, you were there. How many times did I say these guys are going to lead to nothing but disaster for the Muslim community? And then I mean you say single-handedly, but they're a duo, but they dual-handedly destroyed the argument from perfect preservation and the argument from scientific miracles, which the entire time I've been dealing with Islam have been the two main arguments for Islam. These guys, I didn't destroy it. I tried exposing the stuff. I mean, we did, and that's the reason these guys eventually had to admit some things, but they're the ones who pushed everything over the finish line and said, yep, these arguments are garbage. And now they're stuck with we're going to convert people because of our amazing intolerance. And if we can get on enough podcasts with enough hosts who don't know anything about Islam, we'll spread deception faster than people can uncover it, especially if we can make them not have any critics of Islam on their show as well. And they're getting desperate, and it's just going to be hilarious to watch all this come crumble into the ground.
Inshallah. I wanted to bring up that clip quickly of him saying that yes, Islam is intolerant and we're proud of that, or something like that. But yeah. Anyway, Kevin Blackwell said, "Hey Robert, why do you no longer serve as a deacon, and what's the name of the priest you served under?"
There's one thing that you guys are never going to ever get me to do, and that is reveal anything remotely connected to my life.
Yeah. Hey,
Never gonna
Robert.
happen.
Yo, what church do you go to, Robert? And what's the address? And hey, I want to come over one day, Robert. What's,
Hey, Robert, what's
where's
the
that at?
address of your home? Hey,
Yeah.
hey, Robert,
Yes, exactly.
which one is it? Like,
They keep trying. It's never going to happen.
yeah, it's nice.
Hey, Robert, what grocery store do you go to?
Hey, you know, that's an interesting story, because I actually got a death threat once. A guy said,
Just
I saw
once?
you.
Just once? You got
no,
like five. You got like 5 today.
Yeah, I've gotten thousands. Anyway, the guy says, I saw you in the supermarket today. And so next time I followed you home, and now I know where you live. And so next time you come out, I'm going to kill you. And so I read this, and I went out and I told a friend about it, who responded, "Oh, come on. When were you last in the supermarket?"
Yeah.
And so
I've got ones like that
was that.
where a guy says, hey, David, I know where you live. I've got pictures of your kids when they're outside. Just so you know, it's sad that they're going to have to die because of what you did. And I responded, "Wait, you're hiding in the bushes taking pictures of kids? Yeah, good impact your prophet has had on you, you freaking pervert." Anyway.
You know, there was an instance where Mohammed was actually hiding in the bushes and watching this little kid, Ibn Sayyad, because he suspected that he's the Dajjal, because he was disrespectful to Mohammed, and he actually went into the bushes, and he went into the not the bushes, but he went into the yard and was hiding and listening and seeing if he's going to do anything suspicious, anything supernatural, if he's going to do magic or something. That's what Mohammed was doing. He was suspecting little children of being the Dajjal, and now we have these guys.
I love this hadith. The Prophet went out in the heat of the day. He did not speak to me, this is Abu Huraira, nor did I speak to him until he came to the market of Kainuka. He sat in the courtyard of Fatima's house and asked, "Is the little one here? Is the little one here?" Fatima held her son back for a short time. I think she was putting a necklace on him or washing him. Then he came running, and Muhammad hugged him and kissed him. He said, "Oh Allah, love him and love those who love him."
Mm-hmm. I've got an even more powerful one, Robert. This is Sunan Abu Dawud 203. The Messenger of Allah said, "The eyes are the leather strap of the anus."
Yes.
Hey, that'd be an awesome. You could have an entire roundtable discussion on that. Say, hey, Muhammad said the eyes are the leather strap of the anus. So one who sleeps should perform ablution.
Let's do a whole show. Let's do a whole show discussing the wisdom of
There
that.
needs to be a debate where, Daniel Hakikachu says, yes, the eyes are the leather strap of the anus.
That's the topic. Are the eyes the leather strap of the anus?
No, they are not.
Heated debate.
Daniel, I'm ready when you are. We'll talk about it Thursday.
Hey, and Daniel will be like, I've consulted 7 studies that all show where psychologists and medical doctors have confirmed that the eyes are indeed the leather strap of the anus. And I only looked at the abstracts, but it was in there. And to prove this, I went to Google Scholar. I typed in eyes, leather strap, anus, and 7 articles came up. So I know it's in there that this has all been proven. Wow. Dawah, this is Dawah, ladies and gentlemen. We're actually in the 21st century having these discussions, and these are the guys we're dealing with.
I could go on.
Talking about what you're ascribing to it. Simple as that. So that's why I repeat it one more time for my fans, those Islamophobes. The scientific arguments, scientific miracles in the Quran is debunked. And we as Muslims, guess what? It doesn't bother us to the least. You know why? Because alhamdulillah, you know what's very interesting? People are flocking to Islam. Isn't that crazy? Oh, you murtads, you ex-Muslims. Oh, you hostile Christians, Islamophobes, not all of you. Zionists. Some of you are Jews, some of you Hindus.
Robert Spencer.
All of you guys. with tails between your legs, walking away. And you know what's interesting? Islam because of his intolerance. What happened to, me
So
saying...
he's just talking about one person here. He's talking about Andrew Tate. And because Andrew Tate converted to Islam after having some shady dealings with some powerful people in the Middle East, because he talked about how Islam is great because it's so intolerant and violent, he's now saying, look, people are flocking to Islam left and right because of its intolerance. You're just looking at that one guy, the pimp, who, and that's your that's your standard.
That's the new model. That's the new model for all of Dawah. For all of Dawah, and he's sitting here. My goodness.
Yeah, did you notice?
And do you know why people are flocking to Islam? Because of me pot of gold. Because of the green clovers, the blue stars, the moons, me frosted lucky charms. There's over there, and people's flocking for these lucky charms. Yeah, and we're proud of that.
Did you notice at the beginning of the video with Eddie that? Oh man, I am getting old. Sorry, go on. I'll think of it in a minute.
Okay. Something from the beginning of the video with Eddie.
Yeah.
Something happened.
Lots of things happened. Let's see what
that, and we are proud of that. And I'll repeat it again. Yes, we are proud of that. Yes.
You didn't say it right. It's like, we're proud of that.
Yeah, he's trying to change his voice because
say
we're proud of that.
Say it right.
Say it right, Ali.
I'm talking about.
And we're proud of that.
There is that capital punishment. We are proud of
that.
Oh,
yeah. I remembered it.
Hey,
Mohammed Hijab makes a reference at the beginning of the video with Eddie to all his girlfriends.
Oh.
And Eddie looks embarrassed and says, "You mean all your wives?" And he says, Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
But I thought, wait a minute, that's not halal.
Yeah, he said there was a very
right at the beginning,
cute moment where he says,
probably
"I like
right
your
there.
smile." Yeah,
I love you. I love your smile, brother.
Good one. That's what all the girls say.
That's what all the all your wives say, huh?
That's what I meant.
This is very odd. Yeah, you
very awkward laughter there from Eddie.
Yeah, his look at the camera.
Haram talk.
His look at the camera, like, oh, that's not supposed.
That's what all the girls say.
That's what all the all your wives say, huh?
That's right.
Yeah, that's not supposed to happen. You're not supposed to make that joke. Man. But yeah, all the girls like Mohammed Hijab because he likes talking about golden showers and likes talking about people having sex with each other on stream upon his orders and dressing up in weird fetish outfits.
You've seen those tweets where he like asks Muslim girls how often they have sex and stuff like that. I
had that up earlier. Yeah, he actually did do that.
Powerful Dawah.
He said, if you are a Muslim woman, and you are married, how many times do you have sex per week? He asked. Actually,
no. Tell me in my DMs. Describe it in more detail.
Oh boy, I had that up earlier. I saw somebody bring that up because somebody was saying Muslims are strong and potent or something like that, and somebody brought up that tweet. I don't know. I should look at that. Anyway, I was going to mention something quickly before we forget that.
Must have been really important.
Very, very important.
We're all getting old tonight.
Yeah. I don't remember what that was. I don't know. Anyway.
You see? Allah has cursed your memories. You're both forgetting everything.
You're finished already. Look at me. You're done.
It's like Muhammad and his companions forgetting all these verses of the Quran. You see? He has abrogated your arguments. Ha ha!
I had something to say, but a goat ate it.
I had something to say, but the only people who had it memorized died in battle.
Oh, yeah.
All haram. Then what's your favorite color? It detaches us from the entailments of those things. Tail. What does he entail?
It's got quite the
Entails
aura.
Anal penetration from man to man. A
Uh,
painful anal penetration. And
okay.
What is this?
This is a secret video which he published and then later deleted.
What's missing? What's missing? The
You are-
eyes. The eyes are the leather strap of the anus.
It's
You have your eyes, and you have the
You're
leather
asking
strap
me.
to guard yourself against this.
Yes, what did I do it, into a knee-jerk reaction. You see, this really does expose what is your favorite color with the very moralities that they claim to believe.
This is a very interesting video. Like in this video, he is basically this is the video that he published immediately the next day after he came into our live chat and started talking about golden showers and this and that. He next day he recorded this video and published it on his channel, where he talks about why he did that and why he told me to commit suicide and why he why he talked about my mother and my sister and in terms of that I should be in an incestuous relationship with them and all of these things, and that there was actually, it was not impulsive, there was a plan, a great genius plan behind all of that.
I'm an architect of bridges.
He made this video and then he deleted this video a little bit afterward. He deleted
coward.
it. Yeah. So if that was the plan all along, like, why did you delete this video? It's very very strange, right? Anyway,
Well, these are the winners who are going to be on the PBD podcast.
for the representatives of Islam, alhamdulillah, Islam's future is bright.
And people are wondering, oh, why don't these guys want to be on there with people who are going to point all this stuff out?
Nobody knows. Slavic Chile said, Sosnik is a secular Jew, center-left, socially liberal. Haven't seen him discuss theology on the 20-plus shows that I've seen. May not be knowledgeable. We will not know.
I don't know. I guess I won't know till Thursday how exactly this show is going to work. Contrary to what Mohammed Hijab said, I had no input, and so I don't know if Sosnik's going to be involved or not.
I think Sosnik is a co-host. He is a host of that one show that they are having together, which is whatever that show's name is. But they are co-hosts, so he's supposed to be there by default. I guess that's how far I understand it. I don't know if anyone wants to clarify or correct me on that in the chat. Let me know. I don't know much about those shows. John H said, "What is this? The best of Dawah Rat Pack?" Yes.
Is the Rat Pack them or us?
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
You know, the Rat Pack. It was Frank Sinatra and
those guys were
Dean
cool.
Martin. Yeah, Sammy Davis Jr.
Is it them though, or is it us? I don't. Maybe it's
so
it's,
they.
it's them because
think
they're.
It's got to be us.
But it's Dawah, so you know.
Yeah, I guess it's them.
I don't know. Maybe it's them. It's just a So I'm not taking this as a compliment.
We're the anti-Dawah Rat Pack.
Yeah. We're the bad guys. Royal Castrilla said Momo Hijab is a closeted pirate moon.
What's wrong with you, man?
Okay. Thank you.
And what's crazy is like, hey, we don't want to talk about that stuff, but I mean, this is the golden showers, get on your knees, Gimpa, haha. This is how I gotta slap them. I gotta slap them during the golden showers. Like, what is this dude into?
Bring him young.
That always cracks me up. Bring him young.
Bring him young. Peace be upon him.
Yes.
Said, said, hey, David and Apostate Product, go easy on Richard. What is happening here? What are you doing?
You started it, AP, by calling me that.
But why am I suddenly Apostate Product? What is this?
Because you're only in it to make money off Islamophobia.
I'm the only one who got named correctly. That's funny.
Yeah. People respect you too much.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody has any respect for Robert or me.
His pneumonia turned into old monia.
That's true. Yeah. It's been going on for so long. That's absolutely true. Bring them. You're right.
Samuel Robinson said, David, do you plan on writing a book? I would love to add you to my bookshelf. Maybe he wants to add you to his bookshelf, not a book.
Yeah, not a book. You.
Yeah.
I've already written 1.5. Back when I submitted one back in the day, I was told, "Hey, who
It's
are you?
garbage.
Who are you? You're a YouTuber." And then a couple years later, all the publishers started finding out about that YouTubers are popular and can market their own books and stuff. And then everyone started messaging me, hey, all the like actual companies saying, "Hey, we want you to write a book and stuff." And I was like, "No, you guys had your chance." But yeah, I mean, I've already got one. So yeah, I can, I've never resubmitted it after they said you're a YouTuber basically. But yeah, no, I'll submit something here or there.
Yeah, I
Someday.
don't know. I feel like
When I feel like it.
there's a deeper, more sinister message here. This guy is saying he wants to kidnap
Wants
David
to-
Wood,
Because
and
David would. So I'm
Yeah.
going to turn you into a bookshelf because
I'm going to turn you
Wood.
into my bookshelf. I'll make a bookshelf out of David. Myra said, as a non in a Muslim majority, as a non-Muslim in a Muslim majority secular Malaysia, I was kind of scared learning from a recent survey that 82% of Muslim youth want Quran to replace the Constitution.
What do you expect?
well, what could go wrong? I mean, it works out so well. That's why Sharia works so well, and everyone wants to move to Muslim countries because it's so
Yeah.
great.
That's why
Uh-huh.
Pakistan has such an illegal immigration problem.
Yeah, everyone wants to move there. That and
Mhm.
Afghanistan. I can't wait to go.
Oh yeah.
I like really. I mean, like I'm so desperate to get to Afghanistan. I'll like hang on to the side of a plane to get there. It's so great.
Yeah. Radical Moderate said, D. Wood, were there any woke protesters protesting racist Kenny at the debate? Have you seen the video?
Yeah, I've seen the video.
What video are we talking about here?
It would have been easy to bring up, but there's a video that was like the day, but I think it was a day or two before. It was a day or two before I did the debate. If I were slimy, I could have brought it up. But it's Kenny. He's in, I think, a deli, and it's not clear, but he was saying some disrespectful words towards the woman who was, I don't know, making a sandwich or something like this, and a young black guy there said, "Hey, you shouldn't be talking to women like that. So, hey, quit being disrespectful towards women." And Kenny turned and said, "I will take my belt off and whip you, boy," or something like that. I'll take my belt off and whip you. Not the boy. I don't think he said boy, but I'll take my belt off and whip you. Said that to a black man. So everyone's calling him racist Kenny now.
Is that on YouTube?
Yeah, it's on Twitter. Just people now everything he tweets, they post that, they share that video in response. He didn't realize there was a guy behind him standing there because he had started insulting the woman. A guy started recording right then when this guy tried to correct him. But the guy who was standing behind him and started recording has a huge TikTok channel and posted it. And so everyone started sharing it. But yeah, with that said, I don't know. Kenny was nice to me when we were there, so I didn't want to. I'm not gonna use that for debate purposes. But yeah, there's some problems there.
Oopsie. Go on and say a few things, and I'll look for that. Rublar said, "Not inshallah, smash Allah, peace be behind the Prophet." That's very disrespectful.
That's disgusting.
It's Islam.
It sounds like something Mohammed Hijab would say.
Yeah. Tenzil Muslimhood made a super chat. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Royal Castriola said, the Dihya al-Kalbi and Muhammad used to spend nights together reciting Surah 69.
For those who don't know, Dihya al-Kalbi, that means Dihya the dog. Possibly because he liked, I don't even want to say it's possibly because he liked doggy style, but I mean, come on, why else they call him the dog? Anyway, yeah, so apparently this dude looked exactly like the angel Gabriel, because when Dihya would be walking out of Muhammad's house and, "Hey, who's that?" And "No, that was the angel Gabriel." I was like, really? That was who was leaving?
Is this what we were talking about? Wait a minute. Let me put this up here.
Yep, there it is. That's the guy. He's I don't know who he is, but he's got some TikTok channel or something like that, because it had a ton of views on it.
Okay, let's see.
So this man, a black man, speaks up and says, "Hey, don't talk to them that way." And then that guy takes issue with it. And fortunately, someone else waiting there starts recording.
Oh, this guy didn't do it. I thought this guy was doing it.
Oh,
that's Kenny Bomer there. Take my belt off and whip you. What belt? He's got belt on those shorts.
Wow, what in the all those who say can't hear, you're not the only ones. There's too much background noise in the video, so it's very hard to make out what they're saying.
That's why they put words. That's why they put words on the.
Yeah,
that's why they put the. You can tell that's what's being said if you listen, but
yeah. So.
Oh,
he ended by
this is Dawah.
So that's what he clearly.
Yeah, and then he goes, and then the rest of it is him explaining who Kenny Bomer is.
Kenny looks like he took style tips from John Fetterman.
What in the world, man? This is. I mean, who reacts like this to somebody just saying don't talk to a woman like that?
Yeah, don't disrespect a woman like that.
Wow. Representatives of Islam are really, really, really interesting folks nowadays, as always. Yeah, what can you say?
In Kenny's defense, he did not run from the debates we've had, unlike some people.
That's so messed up. Addison Weir said there seems to be a good amount of vulgarity spoken by Muslims like Mohammed Hijab. Any idea why?
Imitating Muhammad.
Yeah. Yeah, Muhammad said
Hadith quotes.
Yeah, so Muhammad said if anyone brags about his lineage, tell him to go bite his father's penis and don't use a euphemism. You got Abu Bakr, go suck a lot's clitoris and stuff like that. It's just built in there.
Bite your dad's penis. That's what he said. That's what the Prophet Muhammad said in a very respectful and wise way.
And notice, I mean, go suck a lot's clitoris. That's Abu Bakr, who was the first of the rightly guided caliphs. He said that in the presence of Muhammad. But notice, as soon as you started, if you were to talk like that about, hey, go give Allah a BJ, why don't you? They would, we're victims, Islamophobes. What are we gonna do? You see, you can't listen to these guys anymore. It's like, wait, that's like the champions of the heroes of your religion talk like that. And notice, even that way of talking is way better than going out and slaughtering people in the name of Allah and killing apostates and raping little girls and stuff. It's like, that's the least of our concerns, is your horrible, disgusting, revolting language.
But this is just so funny. Like Muslims will often represent Muhammad as or present Muhammad as this guy who's like very, very, very good, so very humble, full of wisdom and quiet and shy and this and that. And he just had only good things to say. And he's like, if somebody says this, tell them to go and eat their father's penis. Like, okay, well, that's how.
Bite your father's penis. suck your goddess's clitoris.
And we're proud of that.
The eyes are the leather strap of the anus. It's like, listen, it's important. Yeah, look at here. Look at Muhammad. Oh, can I suck your wife's tit to make her mum? This is how these guys. These are the champions of their religion.
Oh
wow. And then they don't talk politely back to us. How dare they? Can't talk to them.
How dare they?
What a joke. What an absolute joke here.
How dare they? By the way, it's very funny. After some wild comments, he tweeted this at one point. He said, recently I had a serious back injury and have been on a mix of extremely potent medications. This mixed with my wild nature has produced some very unusual private and public communications. This is one of them. Apologies once again.
Oopsie.
This is his excuse. I said all of these very messed up, weird things because I was taking medication for my pain, and like that made me say all of these messed up things.
Listen, man, I had a back injury. That's why I did all that cocaine.
Isn't that an intoxicating liquor?
I took all the cocaine.
If the pain meds make him drunk, isn't that forbidden? It's you can't drink alcohol.
The issue is also that lots of people take the same medication, and it's like that's not a regular thing that just happens, that you just become
I hurt my
completely
back. Can
twisted
I
in
suck your
personality.
wife's tit?
Like I took heavy medication like that, or of the same kind, before for pain, and I never became wild. It was like, hey, let me suck your wife's tits.
I took some Oxycontin. I want to suck your wife's tit. What's the problem?
Anyway,
And what's crazy there is he's mocking what Muhammad said, right? There are people who are defending Muhammad's teaching that, hey, if a woman has to be around a grown man, and you're not going to be around to keep an eye on them to make sure they don't commit adultery or something like that, you have the woman breastfeed the man a bunch of times, so he sucks on her breasts 10 times, and then you don't have to worry about them being sexually active with each other, because
and Aisha says that was originally in the Quran.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
There were two versions of it in the Quran, and then oopsie, got eaten by a sheep or goat.
Yeah, she just didn't want to. She didn't want to have to put up with it.
Yeah.
Hey,
Denzel
said, hey, what? Go ahead.
Yeah, actually, it's about this. So go ahead.
AP, you should interview Marijn van Putten and Sean Anthony. Quickly, I want to say, I respect both of those for what they do for their academic work. Marijn van Putten he doesn't like interacting with people who are polemicists.
Yeah,
That's
can I tell a story about how I have no respect for Marijn van Putten, or do you not want to add that?
Go ahead. No.
Okay. I put out the Critical Quran last year. It's a new translation of the Quran with commentary. It's the first Quran widely published in English that has variant readings listed, all kinds of things. And anyway, on Twitter, I was talking about it, trying to get people interested in the book, of course. And I said in one of the tweets that Allah prays for Muhammad. It's in the Quran, chapter 33, verse 36. Or is it 56? I'm having trouble with the numbers tonight. It's 3356. Sorry. The Allah prays for Muhammad.
Yeah, that's 3356.
So 3356, Allah prays for Muhammad. So who's he praying to? And we're the only I got the only translation here that tells the truth about this verse.
Mm-hmm.
And so, because most of the other translations in English, they cover this up. And so everybody went crazy, and all these people on Twitter were saying, oh, you're a liar. It doesn't say that, and you're stupid, and you're ignorant, and you have nothing. And so people were asking Marijn van Putten about it. And he actually tweeted, yeah, he's right, actually. That's what it says.
It does say that.
And I was impressed, and I thought, wow, that's great that he admitted that. And I was in the middle of something else. So I thought, isn't that nice that he said that? And I went back on working on what I was doing. A few hours later, I went back to find it because I wanted to screenshot it and use it later. And he had deleted it.
Mm.
And
couldn't handle the blowback.
Yeah, he explained actually that he openly said that he deleted it because he didn't want to identify with an Islamophobe, and didn't want to validate that what I was saying was true. And so the guy is a total coward, and he's not even honest about something when, he admitted it, and then he wouldn't stick by it because he's afraid of what kind of blowback he would get.
Yep.
So if you talk to him, I hope you ask him about that. Or have me on with him.
I think he would never agree to talk to me.
Never agree to that.
He would never agree to talk to me either. He is easy to just tell you very openly and clearly that you got something wrong completely. But sometimes, I don't know, it gets a little bit weird. I had a back and forth with him about the name of Allah, and I don't exactly remember how the discussion was going, but I was basically talking to somebody about how in Islam Allah is the proper proper name of the God of Allah, which is not the fact, which is not the same in Abrahamic religion, and how this differs and all of that. And I don't know, we got into quite a lengthy back and forth with him, but overall he has been quite fair to me. He has also answered questions when I asked him something, when I had some discussions with him. I think he mostly tries to be quite unbiased and honest in his views, although at some points I may have noticed some things that I didn't.
Well, he's an academic, and so academics have to. The academic establishment is completely sold out to Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and other big donors, and so he has to say everything to toe the line with them, and that's why he couldn't admit that I was right. So that's just cowardly. I have no respect for this man.
That is what we can all agree on, is that according to the Quran, Allah prays.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sean Anthony, on the other hand, I think he's more okay with people who criticize. Okay, one thing I wanted to say about Marine van Putten is when he was asked if he would have a conversation with Mohammed Hijab or me or others, he said he doesn't want to have a conversation with anybody who is a polemicist, who is engaging in polemics, only with people who just want to, to discuss and all of that. He just doesn't want to engage with polemicists because of reputation issues.
Because it would jeopardize his academic position.
I'm laughing because I have no idea who this guy is. So when AP was saying this, yeah, he says he doesn't want to interact with anyone. I was like, hey, that's like me. I don't want it either. And then he's like, oh, anyone.
Yeah.
But then you kept going after the anyone. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, I don't like him anymore.
Oh, that's funny. I'm just looking through his channel to see if he's.
Why are we spending 7 hours talking about Majin Van Putten?
So wait, because he said
I just had a story. It's over now.
He said,
no, AP's trying to keep it going. Now we're going to go through his entire channel.
Hold on, he's talking about you here. Wait a minute. Let me be clear that I would feel very uncomfortable coming in a channel that interviewed David Wood too. That's
wow.
I'm just looking through tweets to see if he said anything about you and me, and I just found these two things here. Let me this one here.
Powerful.
So he might not have much respect for you, David, just so you know in advance. He said,
"Oh, yeah, I thought you were joking."
No, I'm serious. He was taught. Apparently, he said about Daniel Kikiccu.
What did he say about me, David?
He said about Daniel Kikiccu that he's a disgusting shit bigot, and then they were like, "Why did you call him that?" And you would never say that about the Islamophobes.
Disgusting.
Then he said, "I called him a bigot who said disgusting shit. David Wood is a bigot who says disgusting shit too. I don't follow Apostate Prophet well enough to know." That's what he said. Okay, so.
Oh no, this guy I never heard of is saying this.
He's a scholar of the Quran, and he's generally honest about what the Quran says, but he's so complimentary toward Orthodox Islam that all the Muslims on Twitter think that he's their hero and their champion, and he will clear it all up for them. And he's honest, residually honest enough to admit when I was right, but then he got scared and took it down.
That's pretty bad. That's a pretty bad look. He is one of the people who is who did say, or who did tell Muslims on Twitter that there is basically no way of verifying whether the Quran is is exactly the way that Muhammad revealed it, and that it is also completely unacademic and implausible and irrelevant to him whether the Quran can be described as better than anything else or miraculous or not, and that this is just a futile discussion that is only an agenda behind it. So I find it interesting and respectable that the guy says such things to calm down all those Muslim fans. That's at least good. Anyway, briefly to Sean Anthony, he said he would have a discussion with me on a neutral platform, but he also, as an Orientalist, I guess he wants to protect other Orientalists from getting a bad reputation.
He would probably hate that word.
Yeah.
It's Asianist, AP.
Yes.
You've got to be politically correct. Yeah.
Let's just call it let's call it Islamists. Okay. To make things worse. All right, that's all I have for today. Anything else you guys want to add?
Nope. Just stay away from something. I forget what.
Islam.
I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about.
Here we go.
Watch Patrick bet David on Thursday.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Everyone, yeah, we'll all be sharing that. There's still a part of me that thinks that they will whine. Not Hakikachu. He sounds like he's willing, but some of the other guys might try to derail it by whining ahead of time. But hopefully, if they haven't canceled it by now, hopefully they don't.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll
So
see.
Robert
power-
Spencer will be having a discussion on the PBD channel. I guess live with Daniel Kikichu and that Dean Show dude, and Brother Rashid. It will be hopefully very, very fruitful and interesting, and it will be bridges will be built that day. I'm very happy and I anticipate it with great excitement. And thanks everybody for watching. I will link Robert Spencer's channel down in the description and also tag him here so that you can visit him. This time I will not charge any money for that.
I already have the check written.
and David, he has a channel too. For those who don't know who David Wood is, you can go and visit his channel as well. And until next time, I will leave you alone with a message from a wonderful guy who likes to jump in here and tell you the last word, as always.
Stay away from Islam.